Thank you.
I don't want to just drop her off and leave her. Oh, okay, gotcha.
How are you?
Could have seen better days, but...
Holmseth. I'm Zach.
Okay, so you're... Marshall, let me write this down so I know who I...
My name's Steve Burrswell. We're with the FBI.
Okay, so FBI. Can I write down your names? Do you have a card or anything?
I don't have the card with me, but yeah, you can write down my name.
Okay, let me write
Steve.
down. Okay. So I know who I talked to. Susan. And Zachary. Okay.
All right. So, here's how we're on. You're represented by counsel, correct?
Well, right now, I just talked to him yesterday, but I'm in the midst of getting private counsel.
Okay. But you already have an attorney, you just don't like him?
Well,
Or her? Or
I
whatever.
just met him yesterday, but he's from the public defender's office. Yeah, it's Michael Novak is his name.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking for, like I said, looking for new counsel, or in the midst of talking to counsel. And then my mom called the FBI.
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
So there's a couple pieces of admin stuff. There's a couple things we have to do. If you want to talk to us, considering the setting, there's a couple things we have to do.
Okay.
And it's Neely?
Neely, yes, sir.
N-E-E?
N-E-E-L-Y.
And spell your last name?
It's Petrie-Blanchard, so P-E-T-R-I-E dash, and then B-L-A-N-C-H-A-R-D.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, not to offend you or anything else, but just this is my way of doing things,
Right.
just to make sure. What is the last grade of school you completed?
Some college.
Okay.
So I did probably about 4 semesters totally, but I've been to a couple of different colleges, so.
Okay. But you don't have a college degree?
No, I have a medical assistance certificate.
Okay. So with that, you can read and write?
Yes.
Okay. Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, medications, or anything else?
Mm-mm.
So I'm doing this, obviously it was brought to our attention that you wanted to speak with us, but I'm doing this because you're actually represented.
Right.
Okay? I will not ask you about anything that you're charged with. I don't want you to talk about anything that you're charged with because technically I can't. So anything else you want to talk about, I'm more than happy to talk about.
Okay.
Okay? So before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. You have a right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. If you will, do me a favor.
Okay.
Read this first one out loud just so I know that you can read.
Okay. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights.
Okay. So if you will, read the rest of the form, initial next to each line that you read it and you actually understand it.
Okay.
And then if you want to talk to us, sign here.
Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during the questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. I have read the statement of my rights, and I understand what my rights are. At this time, I am willing to answer questions without a lawyer present.
Perfect. So, what would you like to talk to us about?
Well, I want to first start out and I want to find out there's bigger things going on, and I know there's bigger things going on, and I want to know, first of all, if Eclause has ever been, if there's any kind of, like, would y'all know about military intelligence? The FBI would know about that, correct?
It depends on what it is.
So,
We don't work hand in hand with the military as far as on a daily operational basis, obviously.
y'all are like with the CIA.
Huh?
Y'all moved your offices to Denver, right? Out of the headquarters were moved from Washington to Denver.
No,
No?
no.
No. Okay. All right. Well, that's
So-
wrong information that I was given at one point, but
Do you know what the CIA is?
Central Intelligence Agency.
What do they do?
They deal with like things like national security,
Okay.
or they try to see if threats from other countries, you know what I'm saying, or if other countries were involved.
So in a layman's term, to make it a little easy, the CIA is information gatherers from other countries. They don't do anything domestically on the United States soil.
They do.
That's us.
Okay.
So CIA runs operations overseas and in other countries.
But FBI is just purely
We're domestic.
the things that are going on. But so y'all don't really look into things that were going on. If something's going on with like other countries, like foreign.
It depends. Also, there again, it depends. If there's a foreign threat into the country, yes, we'll investigate that.
Okay.
If there's foreign actors in our country
That are doing stuff.
then we look at that.
Okay. Well, that's really what I need looked at. I need to find out what was going on because
Well, let me back this up again.
Okay.
Okay? You're not going to find out anything about what's going on if there's an investigation.
Okay.
We don't bring information to you. And I'm not trying to say this to be mean or disrespectful or anything else, but we don't provide information to people.
Okay.
We work investigations and we prosecute investigations, or we gather the intelligence to later prosecute or make an arrest. But we don't provide that information back. If you're a victim in a crime, we don't provide information even to the victims. We work our investigations separate.
So it's completely separate. So like if there was something going on, there's no way that I can find that out for...
You're not going to find out from any law enforcement agency. Nobody's going to provide you information.
At all. Even if I was a victim or there was something going on.
If you were a victim, we would get you victim services. But we're not going to tell you what we're actively doing in our investigations, no.
Okay. So that's really what I really need to figure out. I want to because I need to figure out if I was a victim and what else was going on, you know, with Eclause, because I have a lot of evidence and I have a lot of proof that some very, very unlawful things were going on.
With Eclause?
Yes.
Okay, what is Eclause?
So Eclause is a corporation out of Ocala, Florida, and it stands for the Emolument Clause, which you know that's why they tried to impeach Trump on the Emolument Clause. Donald Trump. So that's what it stands for, Emolument Clause.
Okay.
So there's many people that have gone to jail, that are in jail. It was they say that it's part of the Sovereign Citizens group or Sovereign Citizens movement. I know that there were 2 people that were, I think it was like 2 or 4 that were the people that were just arrested in Michigan for trying to say we're gonna hurt the governor. The people with Eclause knew those guys. It's literally like, it was spread out. So what I know is, what I was told is that it was systematically designed to do a certain thing, right? Like when they started the corporation. So like, for instance, there was a case in Utah, which we know Utah's where Silicon Valley is. That's where, like, you know, so anyways, it was systematically designed, each thing. So there was a case in Utah, there was a case in Texas, and I believe I was a victim of crimes, and
What crimes do you believe you're the victim of?
well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because what I've got is, you know, and again, I can't talk about too much, like you said, I don't want to go into the case and what happened, you know what I'm saying, of what happened and why I have the certain, you know what I'm saying, because that's going to be in the state, that's going to have to come out in the state thing, but like I said, there's reason to believe I was the person who was over the group. So I literally, on Facebook, there was a group, and it was the Eclause group, and so I had been a part of it I was the moderator, right? Like, I was the one that did, you know, accepted people. I would have to go through, you know what I'm saying? It was like a full-time job, okay? And I watched the group grow, okay? So it started out very little, and then at one point we were getting, you know, 50 to, you know, we were getting a lot of requests. So, and it's people from all over, from different kinds of groups, and that's why I say that I think it was a systematic, you know, it would be political, right? But when there's people and victims, right, that are going to jail and things that are happening, they were putting me on the news with this QAnon, all this QAnon stuff that's going on.
What is QAnon?
Well, from what I know is that it was a military intelligence operation, and it started underground on like the dark, or like the different in the different parts of the internet, and then it like slowly moved up to mainstream. I think that there is a connection between whoever this Q is, whoever these people were that posted. I think there was a connection between Q, whoever was able to do it, and Eclause. And I have the evidence to prove that.
What do you mean there's a connection?
Well, Eclause, he told me that there was things that were going on with artificial intelligence, that that he had designed algorithms for systems for corporations. So before the internet, you know what I'm saying, was out, there were systems that were designed, right? And he basically, he said that the system that he had designed was weaponized by the family courts. So the courts were using his system that he designed, okay, and they weaponized the family courts. So he had to go in and put an antivirus into the systems to fix I guess, what had happened, or maybe to try to reverse it, or, you know.
So, how was the system that he developed weaponized by the family courts?
He said that they took it and they basically weaponized the system, like they started using it for something that it wasn't intended to use for.
Such as?
Such as taking kids unlawfully. through Title IV.
So wait, how is a computer system developed with algorithms making a judge decide what to do?
Well, it was not the judge, it was the system that the family courts were using, the computer systems that they would be using to do all of the information. Like when they enter in all the information.
What information?
You know, I guess the information with like case numbers and how they were doing something with case numbers. So, like I said, something definitely is going on.
Have you been through a divorce court?
Family court.
You've been through divorce family court?
I was never married, but I went through family court.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what?
Mama, do you want to know what happened?
No, I'm trying.
My daughter was stolen the very first day.
Okay.
I walked into court, and there was literally no evidence. There was no evidence on me that was filed. There was nothing. And
what was the reasoning that was provided that your daughter was taken from you? Who has your daughter?
Paternal grandmother.
Okay.
But she's still getting state funds because that's what happens. They place them with, you know what I'm saying? The states are still getting money from the federal government.
Okay. And what was the reasoning behind when they took your daughter?
There was no reasoning, and I have all of this evidence.
They didn't say that you were deemed unfit to be a mother?
Never. I've never been deemed unfit to be a mother. My parental rights still have not even been terminated.
Okay. Well,
but they used...
What state was this in?
This was in South Carolina. But what they did is they used my case, okay, because of what happened to me in the arrest, because I was unlawfully arrested May 2nd, 2013. They arrested me for custodial interference, but I had physical custody of my daughter. We had been trial. I got physical custody, okay? Legal custody was staying with the paternal grandmother. We came up with an agreement, but my daughter was not in school. So what happened was the federal law stated, there was definitions in the federal law. It defined what legal custody is and what physical custody is, okay? The attorney said, well, you're protected under federal law because legal custody is only like when you're going to a hospital and you're trying to make decisions, or if Mackenzie would have been in school, you know. Well, it said that the legal custody she was only supposed to hold legal custody for 3 months or less, okay? Mackenzie wasn't in school, wasn't worried about it. You know, I was like, okay, well, this will be over with. Make a long story short, my daughter came down to Florida. We were in Jacksonville. She disclosed she was being sexually abused, okay? Her exact words to me was, Mommy, Daddy stuck his wee-wee in my noo-noo and it was sticky like glue, okay? I called DSS, right? Because I didn't know. I called him in Florida and I said, somebody needs to come out and talk to my daughter. I need to know why she's saying this. Okay, they came out, they talked to her, they said, we think something's going on, we want to get her in for a forensic interview. So they did the interview. They deemed that she was being sexually abused, but they said since there was a final order in South Carolina, they could not do anything. They couldn't go into the court in Florida, now this was DSS, and get me, protect Mackenzie. And I was like, well, what do I do? You know, I was pregnant at the time. I was due to give birth, so it wasn't like I could be traveling back and forth between South Carolina and Florida, you know. So anyways, his attorney contacted the judge in South Carolina and said, you know, hey, Neely's not returning Mackenzie. Didn't tell the judge why I wasn't returning Mackenzie, okay? The judge had issued an ex parte order. It was literally called an ex parte order to all law enforcement officers, okay? They ordered, right, the physical custody and the legal custody to be transferred back to the paternal grandmother. Well, in South Carolina, the statutes state that the only way a final order can be changed is on a motion for substantial circumstances. There was never a motion filed into court. I never to this day went to court on the ex parte order. You're supposed to go within 10 days. What? Where you? I never went to court on the ex parte order.
Because you were in Florida.
Right. So they ended up getting Mackenzie back on May 31st, 2012.
So law enforcement showed up where you were in Jacksonville, took custody of your child?
No, law enforcement actually didn't want to do it because they said there is an injunction. Went back to the court and filed an injunction to protect Mackenzie until the police...
In Florida or South Carolina?
In Florida. To protect Mackenzie until it could be investigated, right? Because the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office said they had to work with the Charleston Sheriff's Office. So because the crime happened in Charleston. So on May 31st, basically in front of the judge had called up, the judge in South Carolina, so she knew that the ex parte was ordered. Well, Mary walks out of the courthouse. I was up talking to the judge. She walks out with my daughter. I turn around, Mackenzie's gone. She left the courthouse, went back up to South Carolina.
Who is Mary?
Mary is paternal grandmother.
Okay, thank you.
She blocked me from calling, okay, blocked everything, and I had babies June 8th, so like a week later, I had a C-section. She cut off all forms of communication with me. I didn't see my daughter for almost a year. Every time I would go up to South Carolina, I hired an attorney. Every time I'd go up to South Carolina, they'd be like, well, this doesn't make any sense. You have custody for a final order. This ex parte, no one could explain what this ex parte order was. And even the attorneys would say, this is not even supposed to be in existence. It's like more or less like a bill of attainder, right? It shouldn't have ever happened the way it happened. It's like we don't have King's Court here. We're not in Great Britain. We don't have a King's Court. We have due process of law, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's how all that started. Well, I ended up getting arrested on May 2nd, 2013. It had been almost a year. I hired an attorney. Nobody would help. I couldn't get any answers from anybody. Nobody would tell me, like, I had one attorney say, I can't fight against these people because apparently they don't just issue ex parte orders every day, right? So I went and picked up Mackenzie. I had been told by police officers, like, you have custody, you know what I'm saying, during these days, and physical custody is defined in federal law as the physical care and control of the child, you know. So, went and picked her up. I got arrested. They arrested me, okay. They laid it on me. They laid it on me with the charges. They tried to change one of the charges to, like, transporting a child under the age of 16 years old pending a custody order and not returning within 72 hours. I've literally been fighting for my kid, for my daughter, to this day, right now. Like, there's a uncle that still could be hurting her. He's had her in New York City, okay, around all of these satanics, worship, they're hanging with all these people that are related with Jeffrey Epstein, okay. He's had her in New York City. He's friends with he's gay and a trans, so he has sex with, like, all the people that are with Kim Kardashian or Khloe Kardashian. They're all in a big, you know, they all hang out, right? That do all these things to all these kids. So my daughter is still in a potential thing that this could be going on. She's practically raised herself. Like, they would leave her at the house by herself, okay? She's been in a bad situation, and I've literally been fighting, right, for her since 2010, since she was 1.5, she's 12 now, okay? When I was arrested from her, my mom left Florida, went to Kentucky, okay? They told my mom, foster care, said that if she didn't take the twins from, because I have 3 daughters, if she didn't take the twins from me, they were going to take the twins from me. We all know that foster care, that it's got major, major, major issues, okay? They've been major issues. They're coming out with newspaper articles every day. There's huge things on human trafficking right now, okay? There's a lot of stuff that's going on with human trafficking. I'm trying to find out what, I know for a fact that Eclause was working with people that were not from this country, from Great Britain, okay? I have evidence of all this stuff, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly was going on. Were they connected to human trafficking? And I'm trying to figure out. I went to the FBI, when all this was going on back in Pennsylvania, because I was mistakenly released from jail. They have used my stories. The news has weaponized my story. They've passed legislation. They passed legislation, all the school legislation down in South Carolina, because they made all the schools like be locked up, which is not terribly a bad thing, but still, they've used my cases as politically backed things. Nikki Haley signed a governor's warrant after I was mistakenly released from jail, okay? I was picked up in Pittsburgh. The judge let me out at first, and then they came and, got me again. It's been an ongoing, I have pictures of Nikki Haley and the judge in Kentucky together. Why is the little judge in Kentucky that had something to do with taking my twins from me, it was a picture of Nikki Haley at the Republican convention? It's not a coincidence.
Okay.
It's not a coincidence.
Have you...
So...
okay. So I take it biological father of your daughter is in the home with grandmother, correct?
He was. I just recently found out he left and went to Colorado with some girl.
Okay.
He's gotten another girl pregnant.
How old are you?
I am 34.
34. And at any point in your life, have you ever received psychiatric treatment?
What do you mean I've been deemed that I've had psychiatric evaluations that have all said that I'm...
Have you ever, in Florida it's called the Baker Act, have you ever been...
No.
So, have you ever been treated in a mental health facility?
And they all said that I'm fine, that there's nothing wrong.
Okay, but
like
you were
when I was
treated.
younger, my mom when I was underage, my mom was mad at. I wanted to go out with a boyfriend, and she was mad, so she called and had me go to the hospital. And there's nothing, no. Have I ever been treated for any kind of? Have I ever been deemed that anything's wrong with me? No.
Okay, so, but
I'm very smart. I know what has been going on. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? There's other things that are going on. I know, and I wish I could tell you everything that had happened with what's going on with my case right now. But
let me ask you about another thing, and if it involves your current case, just tell me.
Okay.
We can't talk about it. Paul Knowles. Was there a Paul Knowles?
There is. I don't think that's his real name.
Okay.
That's not his real name. That's a Facebook name. But why do you say?
Because I was told that from the agent that called me that said that you wanted to talk to the FBI.
Oh no, he's not a bad guy or anything. He's not. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But you're dating, or you were dating, or seeing his brother?
No.
There's a Knowles that you were seeing, right?
Why is this even getting brought up? Why is this? What did the agent say about?
He mentioned your name and something about the Paul Knowles that you may have information about. I'm like, okay. That's what I was trying to figure out.
I need to figure out what's going on with Eclause, if it's a military intelligence investigation.
Okay, so having been in the military, okay, you're familiar with what's called the Posse Comitatus Act, right?
Yes.
Okay, so military is not allowed to conduct intelligence gathering on U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. They're not allowed to. They don't do that. Military intelligence is about where our threats, or where the threats are for the safety and security of the country.
Okay.
So there would be no military intelligence operation or investigation. None of that would be handled by military intelligence inside the continental United States.
So being that Chris had said that on numerous occasions, like on the show, because they did a show called Kirk's Law Corner, right, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. So all of that's basically he was just blowing smoke up everyone's ass?
Pretty much, because he wasn't even a legal attorney. So, is there something specific that you wanted to tell us, or is this just something that you were hoping to find out information about certain things?
Yeah, I was just really trying to let, someone know that I had information, that I have information, I have evidence of things that he had filed and stuff, and really just trying to get to the bottom of what exactly has been going on. But you just said you can't tell me, and even if there was an investigation going on, you can't tell me anything.
So you're talking about, now you're referring back to Chris,
The Eclause.
who he was part of,
Right, the corporation.
and which was started by a real attorney. I've seen his documents and paperwork that he's filed and tried to file, and it's horrific. So as far as the other stuff that's going on, I don't know. I have no clue with any of that stuff. I don't know what kind of group that y'all formed and communicated about and all this. I don't know.
I think I was used because he used my
Did you pay him?
I've paid him before.
Okay. I mean, have you ever heard of these, were you ever getting these robocalls?
Yes.
And they're like, your social security number is being
Yes.
suspended and you're going to be put in jail unless you pay. Can you go
Right.
get these green dot cards? Can you go here and get these and give me the numbers? It's all bullshit. Same thing.
Or if you don't transfer $1,000 by green dot card, the FBI is going to come kick down your door and arrest you for tax evasion. That's a lie too.
Everybody
There's
has
frauds.
Yeah, everybody has their own scams and schemes and everything else. He played on the hearts of everybody else that's had their kids taken just like he had his taken. He was not fit to be a parent, and apparently there's a whole lot of other people that got involved in this as well. I'm not saying that's what happened in your case. I don't know your case. Seems like this has been going on for a long time, and I don't know what all your other arrests are. I didn't even pull a criminal history on you. I came here solely because somebody told me that you wanted to talk to the FBI and had information about sovereign citizens, Eclause, and all this other stuff, which to me I think is all fucking horseshit. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful or mean to you.
Right. Well, it's just the fact that, right, it's going, it's even the thing with the Q stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like, now it's turned into this huge thing. They're talking about it on the, it's political, right?
It's all, quite frankly, hogwash. Like, there's no other polite way for me to say it. It is a conspiracy that doesn't exist.
And they're just...
It is a made-up thing. This is like talking about, that's gone down these rabbit holes and has made these connections that are not necessarily logical, true, or anything else. And he's said these things that there's some kind of military intelligence operation on U.S. soil about whatever. Not true.
Weaponizing a computer system to have kids removed is horseshit. It's horseshit.
No.
That's all.
That's
all made up.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of? Did you like movies?
Mm-hmm.
You know who Mel Gibson is?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Conspiracy Theory?
No, that's one I didn't watch.
Well, so
hopefully
this guy made shit up in his head and believed it to be true, and he was able to make things fit into his own theory by actual events that took place. A lot of people like this that set up frauds and scams take other pieces of it and bring it into the conversation. And then it starts becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, there's this big old conspiracy theory going on, and all y'all are dealing with, most of the people that's all part of this group are dealing with the fact that their kids were removed, or my buddy's kids were removed and it wasn't right, or this person's kids were removed. It's all about the same thing.
Right.
How is that going into a political theory, and how is this making it to where we're trying to get Trump out of office, or this senator at the Republican convention is meeting with this judge, because everybody goes to these. We're at them.
Thousands of people.
But how is that related to anything with you and your children? Seriously. I mean, seriously think about how is that related to you?
What does Nikki Haley have to do anything with you?
Well, I did find, they said that the United Nations,
Who
right?
is they?
Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good.
The United Nations, because they've talked about this, Agenda 21, I'm sure, have y'all heard of that?
Go ahead.
Okay, Agenda 21 and the United Nations, and how basically there was, with Nikki Haley, I found it,
Okay, so this is the theory that says that the United States government is going to concede government of the United States to the United Nations. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, because isn't the United Nations, weren't they on our soil with?
Yes, they have headquarters in New York City. Again, this is another one of these wacky, I don't understand. Nobody outside this group understands where this come from, because that's not, the United Nations has minimal power to do anything. It is a way for governments of countries to communicate. That's what it's for. And it's a way for that's what it's for.
No.
Think about it as one big chat board.
Well, it's that, plus it also provides funding in some of the third world countries to give them extra support.
Yes.
With police and tactical support.
Yeah, police, farming, all kind of stuff.
We use them a lot when we would do our overseas stuff. But again, has nothing to do with child custody. Nothing. Whatsoever. I'm not saying that you're not smart. I'm thinking you got wrapped up in a bunch of conspiracy theories. And what you believe you have evidence of is just evidence of made-up conspiracy theories.
So when he would say that he filed stuff, you know?
He filed it where? Not in our federal courthouse. Nothing.
Not in Ocala.
Nope.
At all.
No.
I think I had a federal case number on something, but you're saying there's nothing even there. It's been a lot, and it's still not, you know what I'm saying? It's wrong, right? What's happening, and you know what I'm saying? It's wrong because they shouldn't be allowed to be doing, it's unauthorized practice of law.
Dear, you just admitted a while ago that you were the moderator for the group that was online communicating.
But this was
and bringing
3 years
people to the
ago.
go.
This was 3 years, this was 3 years ago. But as a mom, right, that's had her kid, that no one will help, she's being sexually abused. Not only sexually abused, she was medically abused. I have binders and binders.
Let me stop you there. I understand what your frustrations are, but that's not for us in federal law.
Yeah, but when it was a federal law that was supposed to protect, but the definitions...
It's not a federal law. It's a ruling.
No, but the definitions in the words...
We're not attorneys. Those are issues for attorneys. Okay?
But I can tell you right now, there is no federal laws right now that we are going to enforce for custody. That is all done at the civil court at state level, not here.
But these are not civil courts because you don't...
Family court is civil. It's not criminal.
Well, what about when they turn it into criminal, like they did my case? They turned it into criminal.
So when you have, this is, I'm going to make you need to talk to an attorney about all this, okay? What I have dealt with, though, is when there's a state, just like what you described, there's court rulings in South Carolina, there's court rulings in Florida that are conflicting. You have to get those out-of-state court orders domesticated. So say I would have gotten divorced, my wife, right, takes my child and goes to Indiana, right? In the state of Florida, I get a judge that says all law enforcement, that ex parte order, what you're talking about, law enforcement officers give control of this child to dad, okay?
Okay.
I get in the car, I drive up to Indiana, I go to the local courthouse in Indiana, and I say, here's my legal packet, I need to have it domesticated. What that means is, now Indiana is going to enforce and recognize the state ruling in the state of Florida.
Okay. I've heard of domestication.
All right? So, and then Indiana will look at it and they will make a decision. Okay? So, something tells me, all right, that in the background, there were other facts around your case, all right, that we're not being told about in this room, okay?
But I have...
there's something else out there that we are not being told about in this room for what have happened. Whether it's a matter of a function of how things played out, or a court order, or something.
It's actually probably a lot worse. It's a lot worse.
Something occurred that we don't know about as the two of us sitting here in this room. The issue that becomes is that is not an issue for the FBI. That is an issue that is not an issue for an FBI.
But do you have proof that this child was sexually molested?
Yes, the state of Florida deemed that she was being sexually molested.
The state of Florida did, or they said that there's something to look into?
No, the state of Florida deemed that she was being sexually molested.
How?
By her father.
How?
How did they make that decision?
When they did the forensic interview.
Okay. So then... Children and Family Services, yes. So then, if they said that yes, this child was molested and we got proof of this and blah, 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 then there will be an arrest warrant out for his arrest.
But the crime actually occurred in South Carolina, so the arrest warrant would have to be issued in South Carolina.
Right, but they would pass that to South Carolina.
Yep.
And then there'd be a
jurisdiction.
Right. So, again, I can't charge a hands-on offense federally. If he came to me tomorrow and says, hey, I just molested my 6-year-old daughter. Okay, you're a fucking weirdo, but I can't do nothing about it. I can't charge it. Federally, we do not have a charge for hands-on offenses.
On hands-on offenses, you can't.
Nope. Now, if you take pictures of it while you do it, or you video yourself doing it, I can charge you. But this is where the FBI and state and locals do not cross paths much. Because their hammer on the state side for that hands-on offense is 10 times better than anything else.
Okay.
It's a huge, huge, huge
difference.
Penalty. It's under the age of 10, it's a 25-year min-man capsize battery. In Florida, I don't know about in other states. Florida can wear them out.
Yeah, depending on the age of the kid.
Right.
Mandatory life.
Right. I mean, it's huge. I can charge them for video in it. I can charge them for taking pictures of it. Can't charge them for touching. So.
Back in the day, when the federal government was the one that helped back in the war, in like the Civil War, and been reading a history thing. But anyways, the whole thing has just been too much. It's been one thing after another, you know, literally since 2010, you know, and it's like, America, right, I always grew up, right, America's, there's justice, you have justice in the court. I learned quite differently, you know what I'm saying, and I guess that's where I'm just wanted all to be fixed.
Why would the conspiracy come after you?
Why would the what?
Why would the conspiracy come after you? Why would there be a conspiracy against you?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
Okay.
I think that sometimes in life, right, you don't, necessarily people don't ask for something to happen to them. You know, I'm not saying
that you asked it. I'm asking you, why would this conspiracy target you and your children?
I don't think it does. I think that I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, messed with the wrong people at the wrong time.
So why does paternal grandmother not like you?
She's never liked me.
From day one?
Day one.
Okay.
Day one, she's not like me. I think what it was my mom told me when we were in Georgia, because I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I grew up on Tybee Island, okay? She said, she wanted me, she was like, Neely, if he's going to not do it, you need to go file child support. Wrong thing. I should have never, you know what I'm saying? I should have walked away and been like, okay, if you're not going to have anything to do with it, I don't want anything from you. I don't need any money, you know what I'm saying? And that was the first thing, because as soon as grandmother found out, that I went and filed child support, because she had put his dad through the same thing. It's like a systematic thing, I feel like, right?
How is it systematic?
I feel like in family, I feel like she felt bad for putting his dad through in and out of jail through child support, So she saw how his dad was always in jail for not paying child support. So she saw the writing on the wall for her son. She didn't want Chad to be in and out of jail.
Do they have access to the library here?
I think to a limited extent, yes.
I can't go to the library. The guys can.
What girls can do?
I think they bring them to them. It's because of her status, what she's from.
Okay.
They don't let any of the girls have it.
So, if you can get somebody to get you might want to get you some books on family law.
Right.
Family law.
I could be a family court attorney in South
Well,
Carolina.
but what I'm saying is,
You need to graduate college and go to law school to do that.
That's what I'm being told that we need to do once all this is over with.
but you need to get past this other shit,
Right.
the conspiracy theory. You need to get past that. You need to go right back to the beginning and focus on that.
What happened
Because
at the beginning?
I can tell you right now, your thoughts are all over the map with some of this, and I know some of it is we can't talk about because of your case, and I don't want to go down that path. But I can tell you right now, 99% of this other stuff is bullshit. It's all conspiracy theory related, and you need to focus truly on your family law if there's something that you can do. Now, that might get your mind off of some of the other things and try to start figuring out some other stuff. And you could file a FOIA request, which is the Freedom of
Information Act.
and get all of those documents and all of that paperwork and anything related to you and your name. You might want to wait on that, and in the meantime, focus on your own case.
Right.
Because from what I know of what you're charged with here is a serious thing, and that might be something that you need to focus on first.
One question before, so anything that's going on with the computer systems, do y'all have jurisdiction over computer crimes?
Yes.
What extent?
Depends on what the crime is.
So if someone used a computer to hurt someone, would that be under your jurisdiction?
Are you talking about like picked up a computer and beat you to death with it?
No.
Okay.
So, but how would someone have used a computer to harm someone? You have to give us, we have to understand what you mean when you say that.
Well then that would kind of be getting into the case.
Okay.
But maybe after I can,
Right.
call and then.
Yep, we can come back and talk to you, but I can tell you this right now. If you use the internet, your cell phone, any type of device that connects to the internet, and you use it to defraud somebody, then yes, we can look into that. We can investigate it. If the fraud reaches a decent enough level, we have to pick and choose because we cannot work every single one of them. It is the #1 highest growing crime right now in the world.
Right.
But
Or if you use a computer to infiltrate a secure network, something like that.
a business email,
Like if
email
they stop a
compromise.
911 call?
So, I don't know if you can actually use that to hack into
What if
911
I
and
have
stuff.
proof that it does? Could you look into that?
No, where you could.
Okay.
So, and that'd be a potential, and that may be something that you need to talk to your attorney about.
Right.
So, focus on your case first. Get you some books on family law. Obviously, I mean, states vary a little bit from place to place,
Yeah.
but you might want to focus on that. This other stuff, I can tell you right now.
It's just all just bullshit.
No, sovereign citizens are truly a group, and they're an organized group, and yes, they have anti-government beliefs.
Yes.
Do they all act on it? No. Do a bunch of them talk about it? Yeah. Are they waiting for the damn day for everybody to stand up and take arms and do a bunch of stupid shit? Probably. But is that day going to come? No, not likely.
Hopefully China doesn't invade us.
China ain't going to invade us. So again, a lot of this stuff related to this group, they're bringing in other stuff to help add to their conspiracy theories.
Okay.
I can tell you right now, I'm not interested in looking at any of it. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean, I'm just not. I got enough other actual crimes happening right now that I need to deal with. And if there was something specific, related to your case, that there was going to be a heinous crime committed, then yes, we would be interested. But this whole thing related to custody and kids and algorithms,
Arming the computer system.
the weapon is all
Yeah.
horseshit.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mean about it, but it's horseshit. So
Okay.
take that brain of yours and focus on something else.
Okay. Well, I'm not focusing on it, and I'm just now focused on what, you know what I'm saying, what happened and why, what happened the night and why that happened.
Please don't get into it.
I know.
Okay? Because, like I said,
Because I've been on, like I said, I've been drugged down this for a long time. This has been, you know,
look,
I've been started in 2010, it's 2020, and all I've wanted to be is be a mom.
right. Well,
My child just reached out to me in August, the first time.
mhm.
She found my name on, I had sent her a Bible and a blanket, and she found my name on Amazon. You know, she's being kept away from me.
Mhm. Well, and again, that's something for another day. So, unfortunately, for the last 10 years of your life being involved in all this stuff is not.
Well, it
Once
hasn't
you-
been 10 years, it's only been like 3, but...
Once you go down the rabbit hole, it's dark.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
So you've gone down this rabbit hole
I
and
have
it's all...
investigated more than an FBI agent.
Have you,
I could be a freaking FBI agent.
so you said you're in the process of hiring a private attorney?
I'm getting a private attorney.
Okay, are you gonna be able to pay for a private attorney?
My friends are. My best friend's a doctor here.
Okay, that's good. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. And once maybe this gets resolved, you can feel free to reach back out to us.
Okay.
If you're here, and it gets wrapped up before, because I don't think they'll hold here, right? They don't keep them here, will they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it's one of y'all charges, they'll go to a state pen? They stay here? Okay, well, even better. So just reach out for the jail investigator.
He knows how to get a hold of us.
And he knows Zach very well. I will probably not be here when all this gets wrapped up, but Zach will still be around.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you guys for coming out and talking to me, and you know.
So do me a favor, stay here. We'll have somebody come
Okay.
take you back.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Neely, come on.
Yes.
Hold on. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.